Hello, this is the rat versus frog dissection presented by Bradley Beck, Hollie Vang, Liliana Johnson, Medley Her, and Emily Pineda Vazquez. In this presentation, we will be comparing a rat and frog based on the dissections we performed and research found. We will compare their habitat, mating patterns, food chain, anatomy, and phylogeny.
One of the species we dissected is the Rattus norvegicus, also known as the rat. This natural habitat consists of forests and open fields, and can also be found in sewers and buildings in cities. They sexually mature at around 3 to 4 months, and mating occurs during a 6-hour window when females are sexually active. Their mating season occurs all year round, but increases during warmer temperatures. Pregnancy in female rats lasts around 20 to 25 days, and babies are dependent on their mother for about 14 days after being born. This is the general rat food chain. They usually scavenge for discarded human food, but can prey on small mice and young birds. Some of their predators include wildcats, reptiles, and large birds.
The frog our group dissected is called the Rana foreri. The taxonomy kingdom is Animalia, the phylum is Chordata, the class Amphibia, order Anura, family Ranida, genus Lithobates. The habitat is mainly aquatic habitats, places like swamps and wetlands, including lowlands and seasonal tropical forests, anywhere with high humidity and water sources for various reasons.
Male mating calls are low, soft growling trills that last about 2 seconds. They can lay up to 2,500 eggs, and they hatch after 2 to 3 weeks. Frogs usually prey on insects like beetles and spiders, and tadpoles consume mostly algae and small insects when they get bigger. Frogs have many predators such as birds and reptiles, as well as diving beetles. The rat and frog have similar digestive system with a couple of differences. Most digestion of food occurs in the stomach and small intestine. The pancreas produces insulin to regulate blood sugar levels, and the liver produces bile to break down fat and filter waste. After nutrients and water are absorbed, the waste goes to the colon or cloaca to be excreted. One main difference is that frogs have a gallbladder to store bile. Another difference is that frogs have mucus glands to coat food because they lack salivary glands like rats. This slide shows some of the digestive organs we found during the dissection.
The excretory system. For the rat, we have 2 kidneys, which maintain proper blood consistency and remove metabolic waste, 2 ureters, which are connected to the urinary bladder, 1 urinary bladder, which stores extra urine, and 1 urethra, which connects to the urinary bladder. We have in the frog 2 kidneys, again maintaining proper blood consistency and removing metabolic waste, 2 ureters, which send urine to the cloaca, and additionally serve as genital ducts. We have 1 urinary bladder, which stores extra urine, and the cloaca, which serves as the anus, urethra, and genital opening. Here we have the excretory system, the organs, images for the bladder, female urethra, male urethra, kidney, and ureter in the rat. Here we have kidneys, urinary bladder, ureter, and cloaca for the frog. Male reproductive system. In the rat, we have 2 testes, which are the origin of sperm production. We have the vas deferens, which is a muscular tube that connects the epididymis to the urethra for seminal release. A prostate, which secretes seminal fluid to form semen. The epididymis, which collects and stores sperm. A penis, used for procreation and liquid waste. A scrotum, which is a sac that holds the male rat's reproductive organs. For the male frog, we have 2 testes, which are the origin of sperm production. We have 2 ureters, which function as vas deferens, assisting in transporting semen to the cloaca. And we have 1 cloaca, which would serve, in this case, for the male frog, a penis. We have the reproductive system, the male organs. We have for the rat, vas deferens, testes, epididymis, scrotum, penis, and prostate. For the frog, we have testes, ureter, which is the vas deferens, and a cloaca, which is, in this case, the penis. The female reproductive system. For the rat, we have 2 ovaries, which function as storage for eggs, 2 fallopian tubes leading the eggs from the ovaries to the uterus, 1 uterus, and a single cervix formed by 2 uterine horns with a vagina. For the female frog, we have 2 ovaries which hold the eggs, 2 oviducts which function as a passageway from the ovaries to the cloaca, and 1 cloaca, which in this case would serve as a vagina for the female frog. Here we have the reproductive system, the female organs. For the rat, we have the ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, uterine horn, and vagina. For the frog, we have the ovaries and oviducts, and the cloaca, which again functions as which is a vagina. Here we have the respiratory system, the organs, which are the rat, which include the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, trachea, the epiglottis, bronchi, lungs, alveoli, and diaphragm. For the frog, we have the nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, epiglottis, bronchi, lungs, and alveoli. Here we have the images of the respiratory system organs. In the rat, we have the alveoli, lungs and diaphragm, bronchi and trachea, epiglottis, larynx and pharynx, nasal cavity. For the frog, we have the lung and alveoli, nasal cavity, larynx, pharynx, and epiglottis alongside with the bronchi.
The respiratory system of the rat includes the respiratory tract and respiratory organs, such as the lungs. The rat respires with only the lungs, which are located in the thoracic cavity. Normal inspiration first begins with the contraction of the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles, in which the ribs and sternum are being pulled in an outward and forward motion. Therefore, the chest expands, the lungs are stretched, and the alveoli undergoes distension, causing air to be sucked into the alveoli. For frogs, on the other hand, respiration occurs through the skin, which is permeable to water and contains a large network of blood vessels. The skin is thin and membranous, allowing the respiratory gas to immediately diffuse between the blood vessels and surroundings. Its mucus glands keep the frog moist out of water, which helps to absorb dissolved oxygen from the air. Its system first begins from the nose down to the lungs and has a different mechanism compared to the rat, as it doesn't have a rib nor diaphragm. Its throat first expands. The nostrils then open and air enters its enlarged mouth. Then the air is forced into the lungs by contraction. The carbon dioxide in the lungs is eliminated when the floor of the mouth moves downward, drawing air up out of the lungs and into the mouth. The nostrils finally open, the floor of the mouth moves up, and air is finally released from the nostrils.
Here we can see the comparison between the nervous system of the rat and the frog. The central nervous system is the same, including the brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system is also the same, including cranial nerves and spinal nerves. The autonomic nervous system is also the same. It includes all the different parameters and different functions of the nervous system for both of the animals. However, in rats, there are actually 33 pairs of spinal nerves and 12 pairs of cranial nerves, as opposed to 10 pairs of spinal nerves and 10 pairs of cranial nerves in frogs.
The circulatory system includes the cardiovascular system, where blood is circulated throughout the body. It consists of the heart and blood vessels. The rat has a closed system with 4 chambers, a right and left ventricle, and a right and left atrium. Deoxygenated blood first enters the right atrium and is pumped to the right ventricle through the pulmonary valve. The blood is then divided into the right and left pulmonary arteries, traveling towards the lungs. Here, carbon dioxide is released and oxygen is replenished. The oxygenated blood returns to the left atrium through the right and left pulmonary veins, finally entering the left ventricle, and this cycle repeats. Similarly, the frog also has a closed system. However, it only has 3 chambers, a right and left atrium, and 1 ventricle. The deoxygenated blood travels from the right atrium to the left atrium and then to the ventricle. As discussed in the respiratory system section, frogs intake oxygen through their skin when in water, and when on land, they breathe through their lungs.
On this slide, you can see some common and unique attributes of both the frog and the rat compared with each other. A few attributes they have in common is they are both quadrupedal organisms. They have toes on each of their 4 limbs. And they have prey eyes, which are eyes that are on either side of the head, as opposed to predator eyes that would be both facing forward. Some unique attributes is the rat has fur covering its body, whereas the frog actually has mucus-producing skin, causing them to be slimy. The frog also has an extendable tongue, which the rat, while they do have a tongue, does not extend to the degree that the frog does. Along with this, the rat also has a very pronounced tail, And as you can see on the left, the picture of the frog does not have a tail at all.
The most recent common ancestor between frogs and rats is a tetrapod. Tetrapods were alive 175 to 200 million years ago during the Jurassic ages. The word tetrapod means four legs. Tetrapods evolved to develop four limbs which allowed them to live on land. All land-living vertebrates are considered tetrapods. However, some sea creatures such as whales, dolphins, sea turtles, sea lions, and sea snakes evolved to lose all their limbs and return back to living in the water. Although rats and frogs are very different, they still share a common trait such as four limbs, a jaw, and lungs, which evolved from the tetrapod. Rats and frogs also share these characteristics, minus four limbs with whales, sharks, and other sea creatures that share the tetrapod as a common ancestor.
Conclusion, they have many commonalities and differences. They're similar in the digestive, excretory, and nervous system. They have nearly the same organs in those systems with one or two differences. There's a uniqueness in reproductive and respiratory organs, such as the rat having more reproductive organs than the frog due to the differences in live birth versus laying of eggs. And the frog has a unique respiratory system by which they breathe through the skin. Common ancestor, tetrapod, four-legged vertebrates. We found this by using a phylogenetic tree. These are our works cited for all of the slides already gone through. Thank you.